everyone, and welcome back to Personal Beauty. I'm your host, Shannon. Sorry about the delay. We had a couple technical difficulties, but we're going to be proceeding with another great episode for you guys. So as the caption would suggest, today we are going to be focusing on baby face makeup and some slimming techniques that you can use to help make your face appear a little bit smaller. This is actually something that you'll hear quite a lot in Korea. I even, when I first came here, heard it as a compliment from an older lady, and she told me that I had a really small head or a really small face. At first, I was really confused. I was like, what does that even mean? It kind of came off to me as a little bit of an insult, honestly, at first, because I wasn't sure what it meant. But here in Korea, it's actually a compliment. It means that you're proportioned really well and that you have a very useful, young-looking face. So we're going to be talking about some different techniques and how to achieve that certain look through makeup today, but also some physical measures as well. Let me just say hello to the chat. Let's see, we have Nathan, Mayang Sari, and my dad. Hi, Dad. Shay is in the chat. Nice to see you as well. I wanted to quickly give a nice little shout out to all of my viewers from the States for today. Happy 4th of July. I hope you guys are celebrating with each other and enjoying a really happy holiday. We're not currently celebrating here, obviously in Korea. But I did want to give you guys that little bit of a shout out. So if you guys have any questions or concerns or just some fun comments or anything that you'd like to reply down in the chat below, be sure to do so. I'll try my best to interact with you guys. So like I said, we are going to be talking about how to achieve a certain youthful appearance in today's episode. There's a couple different ways that you can do this. First, we're going to talk a little bit about some physical techniques, but then we'll get into all of this wonderful stuff down here. So some quick things that I wanted to touch on were some techniques that I've picked up along my way being here in Korea and learning a lot about personal beauty. So the first one would be gua sha and or facial yoga. If you guys Google facial yoga, you will probably see some really interesting facial expressions and some crazy stuff. But the whole purpose of facial yoga is to stimulate blood flow to the face. This is something that's used a lot either right before you go to bed or right when you wake up. The reason for that is because you can get lymphatic drainage buildup in certain areas of the body. This is something that happens a lot in the face, especially after you wake up in the morning. So if you're one of those people that wakes up and you feel very puffy or you just feel like you look very bleh, one thing that you can do is actually facial yoga, or you can do gua sha or lymphatic drainage massage. So facial yoga consists of making various facial expressions and using your muscles, like using your tongue to go around your cheeks, for example, just to kind of help break up some of that fluid. One of the techniques that I personally use and that I've actually kind of discovered through working on sets here is gua sha. So one thing that I used to do quite a lot before putting my makeup on or going to set, just so I could look very snatched, quote unquote, as well as a little bit more defined, is gua sha. And gua sha is typically a little jade stone. It can be made with crystal or quartz as well, but often the ones that I've used have been jade. And it's basically a very cold stone that helps you to kind of drain that lymph out. So one of the techniques that I use in the morning is not even with gua sha, but it's something similar. I actually use these two fingers like this, and I'll push along my jawline here to help drain that lymphatic and make my jawline appear a little bit sharper. Some other techniques that you can use are right here around the nose. If you feel like this whole center area of your face is a bit swollen, you can actually push up or just circular motions around the nose. This will help to break some of that lymphatic drainage up as well. This is something that I've used a lot. This is common practice for me. This is also common practice for a lot of Korean makeup artists and celebrities before they're going on camera. So if you guys are curious about how to achieve a younger look, you can actually try exercising your face. My husband is actually at the gym right now, and I'll be going after, because you have to exercise your body to maintain a certain health and a certain shape and physique. The same is true for your face. You have a ton of different muscles in the face as well. So it's really important to help drain all of that out to achieve a useful appearance. Let me just say hello to the chat. Shannon, I love your outfits. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. In your country, is baby face seen as attractive? I will say, just from my perspective as living in America, not necessarily baby face, but there are certain elements that can be highlighted to look a little bit more youthful. And that's definitely, I think, a global phenomenon for a beauty standard. Happy Independence Day to all American. Purple suits Shannon nicely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nathan. You're welcome to stay here when you visit and have a cold beer with me and meet a couple more lovely daughters of mine. That is my dad in the chat for you guys that are curious. So thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said before, make sure you drop the country that you're from and drop some cool Q&A. So moving right along, we're going to be talking a lot about some beauty products and especially makeup applying techniques that can help to slim and trim the face shape. So we'll be starting with this first one here. This is actually a really cool contour powder. Contour is basically a way that you can use makeup to sort of highlight or define different shapes on the face. I'll be explaining a little bit of some opposite techniques that you guys can use or try to incorporate in your practice to make yourself look a little bit younger. So typically, I'm just going to open this up here. Contour powders tend to be like a brown or tan shade. If you're super fair like me and you have a bit of a more cool undertone, it would be wise to try to find powders that have sort of an ashy color. This will help to prevent looking a little bit muddy, but if you do have a more of a warm undertone, this sort of packaging is great. There's actually two colors in here, so one is a little bit darker, one is a little bit lighter. For today, just for the sake of practice, I'll be showing you what it looks like on my skin tone, but we'll start with this darker shade. So I do actually have makeup on at the moment, so I won't be showing you on this on my face, but I can demonstrate the colors at least here. Okay, so this is what a contour shade looks like. It's not super pronounced. This shouldn't be something that's as contrasted as like an eyeliner or an eyeshadow. It should be a little bit more muted, but contour is one of the best ways to kind of achieve that perfect, I forget what it's called. It's like a triple rule. It's like a rule of three, making sure that your face is evenly dispersed. I'm kind of losing my words. Sorry about that. But for this one, again, contour is going to be sort of this lighter brown shade. The best way to do this is when you're looking in the mirror at yourself, you want to make sure that you're focusing on where your cheekbones are. It used to be more in like 2016 style to have a very harsh contour line. For this particular way of or style of doing makeup, I would recommend actually going just above your cheekbone here. So if my cheekbone is right here, you don't want to go right where that natural contour is. You actually want to go slightly above it. This is a very, very tricky and slight measurement that you can take to kind of achieve a slimmer face. If you're going for a more youthful face, like let's say you have a very wide cheek area, one thing that you can do is actually use it on the edges of the face here. This will actually bring the light and the kind of brightness of your face more towards the center. This is going to give you a smaller face shape. So you can kind of combine those techniques. I know I've seen a rule of three before where you start at the temples and you go down like this. This is going to create a shadow on the edges of your face, which actually brings the focus in, making your face look a little bit more narrow. Some other things that you can do, and this is something that I didn't really know about until I moved to Korea. One thing that is considered a standard of beauty here is having a very small nose or philtrum area. So if you do have a very wide section here, it can make your face look quite long or quite old. So one thing that Koreans do is they actually apply a little bit of contour powder on the edge of their nose right here, or right above the lip line. This can also kind of shrink the appearance of that area. This is another thing that you can do to kind of highlight the youthfulness in your face. So we're going to talk about this next one. This is one of my favorite products ever. This is highlighter. So highlighter, I'm sure most of you guys know. This is something that I use a lot. Let me just get this out of the box for you. Little unboxing moment. Okay, this is gorgeous. I love this packaging. So you can actually see right here. This is a very kind of moon shade. This is Dewy Moon. This actually looks a lot like one of my favorite products that I use back home. I'll do a quick swatch for you guys again. Highlighters are typically like a very shiny, shimmery powder. So I'll show you next to the contour here. Oh my gosh. Look at that color payoff. That is incredible. Look at that. That shine is awesome. So usually you wouldn't use it this thick on the face, but one thing you can do with highlighter is actually kind of highlight the opposite of the contour. So the high points of the face or the more glowy areas. I often put this like right on the tip of my nose. Wait, where's a mirror? I should probably do this with a mirror. I don't have one. That's okay. You want to put it like right here on the tip of the nose or right on the bridge of the nose as well. This can make your nose appear a little bit more 3D or a little bit sharper. This is one way to draw attention towards the center of the face and reduce the appearance of the sides of your face. So this is something that I use a lot. Some other techniques that you can use this one for is actually you can use it on the upper lip, like right up here to kind of give it a little pop, a little shine, or underneath the brow bone as well. So kind of right along this area here. This is going to give the appearance of brighter, more wide eyes. Something that I use highlighter all the time for, even if I'm not doing a full face, is right here in the corner. So I'll just show you guys now. I'm not sure what the color payoff is when I'm just using my hand, but right here on the inner corner. Okay, this can kind of draw attention to the center of the face as well. It also kind of opens up the eyes, which tend to be a focal point of Korean beauty, especially when it comes to Korean beauty techniques like makeup, or if you look at a K-pop standard makeup style, you'll see that a lot of it is centered right here to give the appearance of a smaller face. Highlighter has got to be one of my all-time favorite beauty products because it can be used for so many things. I've used this before on photo shoots, even to highlight areas of the body, like the collarbones, for example. You can use it here. You can use it on your shoulders if you want to appear very dewy and glowy. So definitely a must-have. These two together is a killer combo, especially for making your face look a little bit more bright, a little bit more awake, and definitely for shaping as well. So make sure you guys pick up these. Like I said, try to find colors that are a little bit more matched to your skin tone. So for example, this would be more of an ashy tone contour. This would be more of a warm toned highlighter. So for example, you can almost see there's a slightly tan shimmer in there. There are ones that are super silvery or blue toned as well. Just kind of go with whatever vibe you're looking for. But either way, you can use the same techniques to help to sculpt the face. So let's keep moving. Okay, let's see. Eye bags similar to Aegyosal. Yes, so Mayang Sari makes a great point here. We actually will be talking about Aegyosal, which is a very unique Korean and I think just East Asian in general beauty tip. This is something that I never heard of in Korea. It sounds a bit odd at first, but once you see the difference that it makes, it's going to change your whole mind, I promise. So Aegyosal is something that is done with kind of an eyeliner pencil, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's see. Make your face look slimmer with highlighter. Yes. Like if you were sketching a face. That's a great way to put it. So if you were to paint a face on a canvas, you would want the higher points to look a little bit brighter, and sort of the more contoured points to look a little bit darker as well. So you can kind of think of your face as a canvas in that regard. I admire Shannon's passion on K-beauty products. Thank you. I try my best, guys. Okay, let's take a look here. Oh, hello? Oh, there it is. I thought there was nothing in here at first because it's covered in paper. Let's see. I'm making quite the mess with my unboxing. Give me just a second. Okay, first of all, love this packaging. This is actually super cool. I love how slim and compact it is. And when you open it up, there's a little bit of a 3D. Oh, what was that? Oh, it's just a plastic film. There's a little bit of a 3D effect kind of going on here with the product. This is a blush, which I'm sure most of you guys know. Blushes, of course, are typically used on the cheek area. But you can actually use these in other areas as well. So let's just do a quick swatch. Okay, so this is a very, very faint blush. I'm gonna get a little bit more so you guys can see. Kind of looks like Neapolitan ice cream on my hand there. So with this blush, this is obviously a very light kind of peachy tone, almost like a little rosy tone as well. Blush is one of the things that you can use to kind of bring attention to certain parts of your face, but it has to be done in a very specific way. You guys have probably seen photos or videos of people that have gone a little bit overboard on blush, but don't forget that blush is one of those things that's supposed to mimic kind of a gentle flushed appearance, or like if you are blushing because you're talking to a really cute guy or a cute girl. This is something that you want to mimic that sort of youthful reaction. The best way to use blush is actually right in the center of the face if you're trying to achieve a more slim or baby-faced appearance. If you're going for something a little bit more sexy, like a date night look, this is something that you can use on the high points of the face. Your blush placement can really impact the way that your entire makeup look comes together. So I do have blush on today. I'm actually using a liquid blush that I recommended to you guys a couple episodes back. But if you look, I've got it right here, kind of right along my natural apple of my cheek, and a little bit across my nose as well. I do this on purpose because I want the attention of the camera or the attention of who I'm talking to be brought to the center of my face. This is kind of seen as like a very rosy, like sun-kissed look. And there's a couple different ways that you can do this. So I typically use a liquid blush, but for a powder blush like this, it's really important to blend it well with contour. So just for reference, the way that you're going to layer these, or the way that I do it anyway, I typically do contour first, a little bit harsher than I would like it to look in my finished look. Then I would layer blush and then highlighter on top. So with the blush, you can start on the apples of the cheek and work your way out, or you can work your way in towards the center of your face. Like I said, what we're trying to achieve here with the baby face look is really bringing attention to the center of the face. So blush is definitely a great tool for that. A nice way to incorporate blush in some other areas is actually to blend out eyeshadow. You can use it on the eyes. This makes it look a little bit more natural since it's now a similar tone and kind of a similar color pattern to the center of the face as well. So blush is another one of those must-haves. If you guys forget what to buy, just go for Neapolitan ice cream. You want your chocolate, vanilla, and your strawberry. A very delicious makeup routine that you guys can use. All right, let's check back in. I admire Shannon's passion. Oh, I read this one already. Shannon, I need a lot of makeup tips from you. Okay, I'm more than happy to give you guys some of my makeup tips. I feel like I have a very mixed kind of makeup routine. There's definitely some elements that I take from Korean makeup styles as well as Western beauty styles as well. So I do have a very kind of angular face. I usually put contour here to exaggerate my jawline, but I also do it here to exaggerate my cheeks. But some of the things that I take from Korean makeup styles would definitely be blush and highlighter towards the center of my face. So play around with it a little bit. With makeup, you can't really do anything wrong. It's more about just kind of finding the shapes that fit you the best. I want a baby face. Give us your baby face tips. You look younger. Thank you so much. Skin looks amazing and no eyeliner equals more useful. Combat Scent, thank you so much for putting this in there. One thing that I've stopped doing is actually really heavy eyeliner, unless it's like a night out on the town or something like that. Kind of using black or very harsh tones can sometimes make you look a little bit older. It kind of gives a little bit more of a sexy, mature vibe, essentially. So instead of using black eyeliner, if you look really close, I don't actually know if you guys can see that, I've used a very like light brown shadow just along the lash line to make my lashes look more full, but without looking quite so heavy. So I would definitely say if you're going for a more youthful makeup look, less is more and lighter is better. Try to avoid anything that's super heavily contrasting with your natural skin tones. Last one that we're going to be trying today is actually this Aegyosal. So this is called a powder pencil. I actually don't have one of these, and this is something that I try, and I usually use highlighter for this, but I will be showing you guys today. Let's just open it up. A little bit of an unboxing ASMR. Oh, I am just tearing this stuff up, you guys. Sorry. Okay, so this is kind of what it looks like. Typically with this sort of pen, you would see like an eyeliner style, but if you guys actually look really close, I don't know if you guys can see that, it's kind of like a peachy tone almost. In fact, this one's actually called Peach Milk. So I'll show you guys what this looks like on my hand. I'll put it next to the contour so you can see. Just rub it on there. Okay, so hopefully that picks up on camera, but you can see a little bit of that peachy tone. The texture of this one is definitely a little bit more cream in comparison to the last three, which have been a powder. Cream products typically last a little bit longer and they tend to absorb a little bit better into the skin. Now, I will need a mirror for this one since I'm going to be getting pretty close to my eye, so I'm just going to pull this one out. All right. So the best way to do this, and again, this particular style is called Aegyosal as well. If you guys need the spelling of that, you can actually scroll up in the comments. One of our lovely commenters actually left that there. We'll show you how to do this first, and then I'll kind of explain the why. So I'm just going to go right here underneath my lash line. Okay, and just brighten it up a little bit. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see the difference in the camera, but I definitely can up close. When I use this, it almost highlights that little shadow underneath my eye, and that's exactly what we're going for. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, why would you highlight your under eye circles? But that's kind of the point here. If you look at like childhood photos of yourself, or if you look at like, if you just Google the word baby and look at images, they always had this like charming little fat pad right here under their eyes. And babies tend to have really big, bold eyes. What we're trying to do here is highlight actually the wideness or the width of the eye. And by exaggerating this little pad underneath, it makes me look a little bit more youthful. So I'm just going to match that on the other side here. The texture is really nice also. Try not to stab yourself in the eye while you do this. Okay, I think that's even. Yes. So something that you can do with the Aegyosal as well is you can use this almost like a very muted highlighter. So something that's not quite as shimmery or quite as bright, but this does give you a little bit more of that youthful glow. So I do really like this product. Like I said, this is supposed to make you look a little bit more rosy, a little bit more innocent and charming. Definitely a great way, and definitely something that I use a lot more now when I do a full face of makeup. If you don't like the way that it looks, you can always smudge it out a little bit and kind of blend things in. So I would typically kind of blend like that, like a little bit with the shine so that you can see it a bit more. This is something comparable. I think like when I went to EDC or Ultra, I would often put like glitter under my eyes, and it's kind of for the same reason. It gives just a very vibrant effect. So definitely check one of these out. This is kind of one of those uniquely Korean makeup items or makeup tips that I would definitely say is important to make your skin look a little bit more youthful, a little bit more glowy. So let's just hop back over to the comments. Let's see. Any cushion recommendations? Yes. So I'm extremely loyal to this brand, and it's only because I've tried my fair share of cushion foundations, but it's actually the Hera brand. This is just a personal preference, but I find that it actually blends out a little bit less watery, a little bit less glazed donut, so you can actually look a little bit more skin-like. That's one of my favorites. It also has SPF, which is great because it protects you from the sun. Concealer tips, yes. So Rexy just asked about concealer. This isn't actually one of the products that we have up here today, but concealer is definitely important. If you guys are trying to achieve a more bright, kind of youthful appearance, trying to use concealer right underneath the eyes in like a little triangle shape will be helpful for you. You can also focus on right around the lip and nose area. I would say for concealer, don't focus on the outsides of the face unless you're just doing a spot treatment, but blending out is key, and try to focus concealer on the center of the face. Glowy forehead is stunning. Ooh, is my forehead glowy? Thank you. No powder equals youthful magic. Not necessarily. You can achieve a very dewy look with powder, but it's important not to use things like setting powders that are going to mattify everything at the end. So for example, we did use 3 powder products here today, and I'm still having a little bit more of a glowy base. Of course, this is all dependent on the base products that you use. Go for something a little bit more liquidy or a little bit more creamy. Under eye highlighter. All right, I need to try this. Yes. So definitely give these looks a try, you guys. Give these products a try. These are some great options for you. If you guys have any tips or suggestions, and maybe something I didn't mention and that you know a different trick, make sure to leave it in the comment section down below. We'll be checking that out later. That is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting Koreanet and for supporting this channel. I will see you next Friday at 6 p.m. KST. Not sure what time that might be for you, but make sure that you tune in. I would love to see you again. Bye.